Magic is a verb. It's active. It's a means of accomplishing an end. The core of magic can be boiled down to one word: action. Hello, and welcome to another lore video on Mage the Ascension. In the last video, we talked about the art of magic, and in this video, we'll talk about what magic can do and how each mage can use it. Before an awakened one can start forcing their will to make change in the world, they need to understand what makes magic possible in the first place. Quintessence, or primal energy as certain mages call it, is the raw material of reality and cannot be divided, measured, or contained. The patterns of all things, mortals, supernaturals, even inanimate objects, are woven from quintessence and flows through the pattern of everything in existence. The ways in which those patterns interact and the ways in which quintessence flows within them can take decades or even centuries of training, focus, and practice for a mage to learn how to manipulate them. So how does a mage even begin that process? Well, they find a focus that works for them. A focus may be a totally mundane object or ritual with no power of its own, but because the awakened one believes not only in the focus's power, but in their ability to use it, the focus opens the door to magic. Whatever magical tool a mage chooses is irrelevant, as long as the awakened one can use it to focus their paradigm to achieve a desired effect. A paradigm is the way in which a mage understands magic and incorporates it into their broader interpretation of reality. In other words, it's an awakened one's system of assumptions, concepts, values, and practices that constitutes their way of viewing reality. Some mages say that both the tools and the paradigm are just illusions, that arete, the essence of a mage, is all one needs to achieve excellence. Mages who attain this point, this great kind of awakening, are among the most powerful, reaching a level where they begin to transcend the illusions of the world. But powerful does not equal wise, and these mages too easily become fanatics, begin to insist that what they believe is true and that everyone else must believe it too. They demand that their reality is and must be the only reality. They become tyrants, enforcing their will upon the rest of the world. With all this power just waiting to be unleashed, why don't awakened ones just do whatever they want? Well, because reality itself won't let them do that. Reality has rules, and those rules are decided by the consensus, the term referring to the overriding consensual reality created by the beliefs of the sleepers, the unawakened mortals. Sleepers also shape the world with their wills like mages, but sleepers do this unconsciously. Therefore, reality is what the majority of people believe it to be. For any mage to work magic, they must force their belief on the world by fighting the billions of minds whose beliefs shape the consensus. The consensus has a certain amount of wiggle room, but many laws are inflexible. That which goes up must come down. An object in motion tends to stay in motion, that sort of thing. People can't change themselves into lampshades, so if they do, they don't do so easily. To defy consensual reality is to invite paradox, the collective force of consensual reality fighting back against the will of the mage. So what determines this consensus? Human belief plays a strong role in the shape of the consensus, and the sleepers outnumber mages millions of times over. Therefore, their will, ultimately, holds more water, so to speak. The consensus was more easily manipulated before the Age of Reason, when the majority of humans truly believed in superstition and folklore. In those days, dragons, monsters, and other magical creatures walked the earth, so it was simpler to travel to the realms of fairy and spirit, and mages could enact powerful spells in front of mortal witnesses with relative ease. As technology, trade, and conquest spread cultures across continents, many beliefs became fixtures across most, if not all, of the world. Since the age of conquest in the late Renaissance, magic has been a lot harder to perform, its effects diminished by the weight of the consensus. Manipulating the consensus is a major goal for mage factions everywhere, and for centuries the technocracy, and its antecedent, the Order of Reason, has controlled the consensus. We will go over the different factions in future videos, but very briefly, the Technocratic Union is a group dedicated to the protection of humanity from the devastations of the supernatural, and they currently control the global consensus. So what is the best way to avoid the pushback from the paradox effect when performing magic? Using magic in the classic sense is practically inviting disaster, so many mages make their magic seem like a natural part of the landscape. For example, a ricochet off of a nearby pipe happens to hit a target, or an old man suddenly has a heart attack. Each of these effects could be coincidental, or could be the work of a mage. The baseline rule of coincidental magic is this: if a mundane witness sees a mage perform a magical act, and yet accepts it as a normal part of their surroundings, then it's just a coincidence and does not incur paradox. One of the most versatile forms of magic seems to be technomancy. Most people throughout the modern world accept technology as an essential part of their reality. This isn't true everywhere, but it's a common enough baseline in the industrial world. And because the dominant human belief favors technology, sci-fi looking gadgetry will still be considered coincidental. And then there's magic that appears to slap reality in the face, the stuff that blatantly contradicts the apparent laws of the universe. Hurling a fireball from an open palm, turning vampires into lawn furniture, all these things incur paradox. This type of magic is called vulgar magic, and although a powerful mage can perform such feats, it's not wise to do so. Whether or not paradox punishes an awakened one immediately, they'll suffer for it sooner or later, so most mages avoid using it unless they absolutely must. Which leads to another kind of paradox. A mage exists to dare reality, to defy paradox. If they never do that, mages deny their potential for change. No one ever said that being a mage was easy, but without people who are willing to risk everything, nothing worthwhile is ever done. In the next Mage the Ascension lore video, we're going to talk about the elements of reality itself. I make videos multiple times a week, and every Monday is either Masquerade or Mage Monday, so if you enjoy what I do, please consider subscribing. I also have a Discord now, which I will leave in the description. Now remember, Awakened Ones, reality is what you make of it.